Chinese propaganda aside, people are fucking mad that China is doing like the Russian version of propaganda that America is doing on the other side, okay? The only difference is that Ukraine is victim to unjustifiable acts by Russia, right? The hilarity in the situation, though, is that like they make it seem like because they are doing propaganda and have like shown support for the Russian side of this invasion, which is unjustifiable, that they are incapable of doing diplomacy. Okay, well, you're on the fucking side of Ukrainians. Are you saying you're incapable of doing diplomacy? Because I would still very much like America, despite being on the Ukrainian side, to do the diplomacy. Please. I like, that's great. That's a big difference. No, it's not. Do the diplomacy. I don't give a fuck whose side you're on. America, do it. Please. Let's see what China's takes are on this, though. I want to hear it.
We do all this to prevent World War III, and people laugh at us. Well, I hope you're not laughing now. As the Russian invasion of Ukraine continues to unfold,
Damn.
one country we're not hearing much from at the moment is China. But isn't China supposed to be one of Russia's biggest allies?
Motherfucker said, I hope you're not laughing now. Holy shit, dude. Okay.
Are you curious about ordinary Chinese citizens' reactions to the Russia-Ukraine war? What do the Chinese think about Russia and Putin as a leader in general?
今天我们想了解一下中国人对俄罗斯的看法。首先，你是否听说了最近俄罗斯入侵乌克兰的这个新闻？
听说了。
我听说了。
你对此的第一反应是什么？
我觉得用入侵这个词可能太严重了，这是我的个人感受啊。
因为乌克兰是一个主权国家，然后俄罗斯它不顾国际法去侵略一个主权国家。
Why is choosing to invade a sovereign state is wrong? Wait, what are the pinned comment? Thanks for the video. Wanted to point out some translations that could be better. I personally think the invasion is quite extreme. I personally think the word invasion is too extreme. And at 510, we shouldn't step in because this is Ukraine's issue. We shouldn't step in because Ukraine is the one who provoked Russia. Damn. Those are some big ass differences, bro. First of all, the US has Taiwan's back should be, first of all, Taiwan's boss. The US won't agree to it. Edit adding, we won't abandon the situation either should be, we won't send weapons to either Ukraine or Russia from, okay, that one's fine.
我觉得这个是错误的。
有听说这个新闻是俄罗斯跟乌克兰有一些。
The news I heard is that Ukraine and Russia have some kind of military conflict, so each has a different opinion.
俄罗斯好像说不是入侵，然后乌克兰说是入侵。
听说了，但是我感到呢，这个叫做俄罗斯呢，不是普京不是他侵占。
Boomers everywhere, dude. International boomer solidarity. You know, we talk about how there's only class solidarity for the billionaires, but there's another B word that demonstrates international solidarity, and that's the boomers. Find me a boomer anywhere, and I will find you a man who is more often than not going to take the worst, most reactionary position you possibly can.
让乌克兰，他是为了保持这个国家的安全，为了保护自己的国家安全、人民的生活幸福。
那这个新闻在中国大概有多大的影响？有多少对他的这样的新闻报道？
实际上影响会非常大，因为在开战那天，基本上朋友圈都会在说这个。
On the first day of the war, my social media feed was full of people talking about the war. All my friends were talking about this. But to say we were watching the Hasanabi broadcast. My favorite broadcast of all time, the Hasanabi broadcast. The impact that the Hasanabi broadcasts have had on the Chinese people is huge. He always praises Xi. I think there's a lot of media coverage because Weibo and Baidu websites have all trending topics on Russia and Ukraine.
中国媒体是怎么去报道
I'm listening in the car. Is she actually saying this? Yes.
这个新闻的？不管是官方的或者是民间的，他们是怎么说？为什么俄罗斯决定在乌克兰部署军队的这么样一个新闻？
官方的媒体可能还是，我觉得以中国的立场来讲，还是说是保持着说不干涉别人家内政的原则，比较客观跟中立去报道吧。但是我们官方还是有一点，可能官方是比较含蓄的。一些别的媒体的报道会分偏西方的或偏俄罗斯这边。
这是别国的一种就是自己的一种主权的事情，所以我们国家实际上是没有权利干涉的。但是实际上我们对这种行为当然是予以不同意的，对。
那民间大概有什么样的报道？
民间的报道实际上也是非常反对这种侵略的行为，因为我们民间还是认为这是一种侵略的行为。那么民间呢，我们更多的看到是民众的这种痛苦，所以我们对于比如说小孩子啊，特别是母亲啊，对于那边的孩子们的这个情况， 还有这个妇女们的情况，实际上是非常的表示同情的。
How do you know you are right and it's not us from the West who's been brainwashed? Wait, what? Motherfucker, I'm in the West. What do you mean? I'm here, brother. You think I'm in fucking Shanghai? What the fuck? Peaceful US-funded Maidan coup. Who is Hasanabi? If you just say it like that, you make it seem as though the Euromaidan was totally fucking unjustifiable and that people actually didn't have any interest in rising up. This is a problem that MLs
the movies Titanic and The Sixth
and
Sense have in
anti-imperialists
common?
regularly
I see dead
fucking regularly jump to. He's saying, what if Putin is right and we're brainwashed by Western propaganda? No, Putin is not fucking right. There is a secondary, there's a secondary moral
Happy
metric you can
anniversary,
apply in
King.
these
I'm glad
situations.
to listen every day to my favorite Italian.
And the secondary moral, the actual moral position here is that it's unjustifiable. Anyway, the thing I was going to say about, the thing I was saying
Hustle, keep
originally
up the coverage, brother. I appreciate
about
your work.
Euromaidan is that the inception of Euromaidan was a popular movement that then got hijacked, much like many of the color revolutions that occur everywhere else, okay? Including, but not limited to, the Muslim Brotherhood movement that we saw, the Arab Spring that we saw, and also the Canadian Spring, aka the trucker protest in Canada. Okay, that was more of a fucking grassroots. Well, not grassroots. It was more of an astroturfed, but by individual Americans in Canada's very own color revolution that failed because, base Justin Trudeau showed his long dick to the Canadian hogs. But of course, there is still at its inception a very real and very legitimate anger that people felt towards the administration, and it was true. And the way to deal with that was also not appropriate. That's also true.
俄罗斯为什么决定在乌克兰部署军队啊？
他就是觉得乌克兰要加入北约了，加入北约的话，对他的威胁就大了，所以说他就要他就要有以这个方式去胁迫乌克兰啊。我觉得他有他的政治目的。
这两天我花了一点点时间去了解了一下，应该是北约的那种扩张的力量，让俄罗斯会很紧张嘛。他们这个驻军乌克兰或者是他们的武装力量分不过去，也是也是一种战略保护自己。
他为什么不是？我觉得为什么呢？是北约组织他东扩。
Okay, low key though, other than the straight up fucking propaganda that they're doing, some of them doing for Russia, there is actually some fucking decent takes in the middle of that. I'm just be honest. Obviously, any of them that say oh, it's unjustifiable that Ukraine provoked it, or that Russia's just protecting itself. I mean, for the most part, it's ridiculous. But I need you to understand, as an American watching this right now, is that there's an attitude shift against America that is happening on this planet. But that attitude shift is now more loud and therefore legitimate, because there is one country that otherwise would have been considered a developing nation that has now become a developed nation.
I understand that an ad is about to shift on to non-subscribers at the top of the hour.
Come on, dude. That's cheating. Using a fucking resubscription to run a fucking ad break debate is literally cheating. Okay, you are cheating.
Listen.
You're doing pay to win the debate. Okay, but if you get so pressed over getting baited, just take the L. I mean, dude, it's a dance. Okay, sometimes it annoys me, but other times it doesn't. I'm doing a fucking dance here I'm giving the chatter the satisfaction that they have fucking owned me. The thing is, you're doing pay to win. You're engaging in pay to win. And another way to pay to win the top of the hour ad break is by subscribing for $5. Here's the 1 minute ad break now.
他把枪炮、什么导弹、什么火箭都对准了我们俄罗斯的嘛，他自己的普京感到自己的安全受到了威胁。 他就要做出一定的反制。
西方总体上是谴责入侵乌克兰这个举动的。那么中国政府对这场持续的冲突是什么样的一个反应？
和平。
Not nearly as frustrating as the top of the hour ad break.
How is it different to the Euromaidan Ukraine situation than if January 6th succeeded and the Oath Keepers were integrated into the U.S. military and started setting up children's camps? Would you not want to help? Would you not want help from another country if it got as bad? First of all, making comparisons to Ukraine is something. Just leave that up to the liberals, okay? Because making comparisons between America and Ukraine, you're gonna come across like a fucking dumbass, regardless. Specifically, asking help from another country, like what do you think Canada is gonna fucking invade America? Like that's not,
Check
you know
out
what I
my
mean?
art of you, it's posted on Discord.
You're ridiculous. And also, who's asking for help, dog? I mean, yes, Crimea is one thing, or Eastern Territories is one thing, but you're being fucking ridiculous when you try to compare America to Ukraine, considering the different ethnic backgrounds, the different shared culture and attitude that that Ukraine has with Russia. You're just it's a silly comparison to make. Anyway, what happened in Euromaidan wasn't like January 6th at all. You can't say that it was just fucking hog. It wasn't. It was a very real and understandable, angry population of Ukrainians that fucking despise the current leadership.
It's like Footloose.
It got overtaken by the far right. Even the inception of that protest is justifiable, whereas January 6th is not. I don't think China is a socialist country. But I don't care. Neither is fucking Norway, but I hype Norway up too. You know what I mean?
Months in chat and I still got no bitches.
Like I'm desperate, man. I'm a fucking revisionist, okay? I'm a filthy revisionist and I'm fucking desperate. I'm desperate for some goddamn high-speed rail, and I'm desperate for some nationalization of the extraction industries, and I'm desperate for more fucking unionization, okay? So I'll take it. Like, I'll look to any country that has all of those things or any of those things, and I will say, that's good that they're doing that. That's poggers. That shit is fucking pog, dude. I like that, okay? I'm also, more importantly than all that, desperate for some fucking healthcare, education. Anyway, public transport be good in urban areas, but my lord, putting a rail through the U.S. would be tough. Yeah, that's never been done before, dude. Yeah. Never been done before, never could be done.
处于一个和平的一个政策，就是说啊，我们能谈判就
Just buy some healthcare, you rich fuck. No, you fucking idiot. Not for me, but for people I care about that aren't as fortunate as I am. The fuck is wrong with you? The people that I don't know that I would care for, okay? The people beyond my reach. It's called empathy, you fucking dingus. Obviously, I'm not talking about healthcare for me, but I am not far removed from the insecurity of not being able to have healthcare that's tied to my fucking job. So I understand what it's like. Okay? Are you begging me to just like fucking be an out-of-touch rich douchebag? Would that make you happy? Like, oh, dude, why are you fucking still advocating for the plight of the poor? You're not poor. Okay, dude, yeah, no, fuck that. Fuck the solidarity, actually. Fucking die if you're poor. That's sick.
My brain rot is hanging upside down.
That's crazy, man. Why are you so rich but ask your friends with a 1K to be paid back for the gun range stream? First of all, that never happened, okay? Oh my God, why am I responding to a fucking LSF? Why am I responding to an LSF thread?
Question mark.
That is a conversation that you clipped out of fucking context. Incredible, dude. And you know what? Fuck it, actually. I should just turn around and say, no, actually, that's how I stay rich, bitch. Let's go. Why am I responding to that fucking idiot? You have to pay first to get healthcare in China. They would have let me die on the floor in the ER of the Beijing if I had not paid. It's scary. I don't know how Chinese healthcare works, but I'm still a fucking. I'm not talking about China's healthcare when I talk about China. I'm talking about China's motherfucking high-speed rail, baby, and other social policies. They've done a pretty good job, you know, pushing at the very least the cities. Maybe not the suburban, or not suburban, but they've demonstrably done a good job by capitalist metrics of uplifting and creating a fucking robust middle class, while also simultaneously building up and modernizing. Maybe the rural landscape is not looking too great, but other than that, the Chinese system has been incredible in taking people out of abject poverty, extreme poverty. So much so.
Is a socialist.
Why are you so hard for their high-speed rail? Because high-speed rail is awesome. Most Asian countries have pay-first healthcare. Even the university guy, Mr. Rail, is good. Oh, so fucking good. Woo, it's so fucking good.
鉴于中国认为俄罗斯是一个
As of 2020, at least about 95% of the Chinese population has at least basic health insurance coverage. Despite this, public health insurance generally only covers about half of the medical costs, with the proportion lower for serious or chronic
盟友。
illnesses.
那
Yeah,
么
that's
你
not
认
good.
为中国是否应该以任何的形式去干涉？为什么？或者是为什么不？
Bro, they've also done a great job in suppressing completely the discourse around politics. Yeah, I mean, look, I have a Chinese family members. Okay, I have not one, but multiple Chinese family members, and I talk to them regularly to get a better understanding of what the Chinese like attitude is on what their government is. And by and large, and this is really fucking triggers Americans when we talk about this, but by and large, their overall opinion, for the most part, and these are people from literally fucking Taiwan, technically, okay. But by and large, their overall attitude is this, okay? I put my head down. I don't fucking question the government, but I know ultimately at the... Didn't you say they were Taiwanese? Yeah, they are. But, like, I mean, they say they're Chinese. People from Taiwan also still, if you ask them if they're Chinese, they're going to say they're fucking Chinese. They'll correct you if you want to hear where they're from. Like, they're ethnically Chinese. Ethnically, okay? They're Han Chinese. They're not indigenous Taiwanese, okay? Anyway, Christ. Listen. People are so fucking annoying because they're literally just like bringing up. So the rich people who fled Mao, not even rich people. I think they literally are military too. They were. But yeah. Anyway. I don't know what the exact details are. I forget. It doesn't matter. Okay, yes, they were radical Chinese separatists. But ultimately, their take on it is... basically that they put their head down. Most people would just put their head down, okay? And they are under the belief that the government is actually helping them, okay? Like the government, no matter what, like, yeah, there's no freedom of speech or anything like that, but that's manageable. Even people that go between China and America will tell you, like, you know, you just kind of forget about the fact that you just don't have like straight up freedom of speech. Because human beings are incredibly adaptable. Like they adapt like crazy. I personally, growing up in a country that does not have free speech, did not like that and loved that America did have free speech. It was one of the reasons, right? Americans have no freedom of speech either. Yes, they do. Shut up. Like for marginal things, like inconsequential things. Other countries care about inconsequential things, whereas America doesn't, okay? And that's a good thing. It's like little liberties that you get that still absolutely help you know, make this overall experience better. Anyway, the point is that they just don't care about that as much. Like, it's not as big as a deal for them as long as the government is like, you know, keeping them fucking fed and building shit all around, and they have a more unified national attitude towards Chinese prosperity because they feel like their government is still on their, you know, on their side ultimately. They're terrified of it. Does that make sense? It's more like it's so hard to describe this to Americans because you have this like over the top like anti-government attitude no matter what happens. Right? So it's really, really, really difficult to describe it to Americans who will never understand like a powerful state that you truly believe has your back, that you truly believe will do the right thing ultimately, even in like hard times. Does that make sense? Because Americans are conditioned into hating authority and hating the government. And especially, this attitude is especially worse. They fucking won't, though. Dude, the Chinese government has literally done more to fucking uplift the prosperity of Chinese citizens than America has in that same period of time. Get the fuck out of here. at a time when like you can literally look at the prosperity of American citizens declining rapidly, you can literally make the exact opposite argument for China. What the fuck are you talking about? Even if you look at it from a purely capitalist metric of success of like a robust middle class, a growing robust middle class and a growing economy, China is literally crushing on the capitalist metrics and America is being comstered on those metrics. Get the fuck out of here. China is single-handedly carrying this notion that capitalism is the reason for so much global global poverty being eradicated. Take China out of the equation and look back at the global poverty metrics and tell me that like the world is better off. That's crazy. You fucking capitalist pig dogs do not know how much you need China to make the argument that capitalism is good. Holy fucking shit.
我觉得不应该干涉。就是首先这是乌克兰挑起的一些事儿，然后他去惹到了我们就是惹到俄罗斯了，但又不是俄罗斯受侵害了，就是俄罗斯如果受侵害的话，我们国家是可以去。
Not the prosperity of the Chinese people, the prosperity of the nation. Jesus Christ, you are delusional. Good out there. Why do they control everything that comes out of China? Internet, social media, etc. It's an authoritarian form of governance. 1,000,000%. There are two separate forms, in its most reductive terms, there are two separate forms of governance. One, you have an authoritarian form of governance where everybody knows that the government is like literally fucking telling you like a thing is a certain way and you can't question it or else we'll fuck you up. Or you have the neoliberal control of information. The flow of information is absolutely controlled by neoliberal supposedly private corporations, but that entire
where they even get that idea from.
their goals, their overarching goals in messaging, absolutely shut up. Anyway, oh Jesus Christ. But their overarching goals of the neoliberal media is still absolutely in line with whatever the fucking government is. There's acceptable thoughts, there's acceptable ideas that are in a box, and those acceptable ideas can stretch super far right because as far right as you go, you're more often than not threatening capitalism. Okay? You're just threatening the lives of marginalized people, which, you know, if you go to a certain point, that's not all right from the capital point of view. But, like, for the most part, it's not an accident that the fucking titans of industry aligned with the fascists in Nazi Germany and elsewhere historically and beefed up the pockets of both Hitler and also beefed up the pockets of Mussolini, specifically because they saw fascism as a counterbalance to communism, which was the genuine problem for said business owners. You know, God forbid we lose control over our private property at the behest of the working class. Okay? So, neoliberal control of information is still very much controlled. You really don't care about it, or you don't see it when America does it in the same way. Notice how you look at Russia beating the shit out of protesters, right? Anti-war protesters. Dog, I know people that are in here right now that have had on fucking stream that have either A, been tortured by the U.S. government, or B, literally been arrested for protesting the U.S. government against war, actually, even in identical fucking capacities. So, you know, this notion that like America has full tilt freedom of speech is kind of silly. Okay? We don't. Of course we don't. We destroy whistleblowers, you know? Edward Snowden is still in fucking Russia. Meta spokesman Joe Osborne previously said the company was for the time being making a narrow exception for the praise of Azov regiment. Yeah, I know. And now they're making an exception for saying, you know, to kill Russian soldiers and shit.
可以去就是说支援俄罗斯啊或者什么的。
实际上前几天应该是昨天吧，好像习主席已经与这个普京通电话了，他希望说能够谈，对，所以我们国家的这个外交部发言人以。
I used to live in China mainland, and I can confirm what Hasan is saying 100% true. However, Taiwan is possibly the most democratic and free country on earth. What the fuck? I mean, I guess it's kind of cool that they let politicians beat the shit out of each other.
其实一直在说我们实际上是不同意这样的战争，我们也不会递武器的，我们是希望大家能够协商谈判。
I mean, yeah, like I agree with
那
this.
你会
I
如何
hope
去
both
描
sides
述
can talk it
中国和
over.
俄罗斯的两国的关系呢？就在中国，我们对俄罗斯是什么样的一个看法？然后总体上是偏向。
It's kind of crazy that the Chinese State Department is like straight up doing Russian agitprop, but the people themselves don't have like at least from this video, which is anecdotal largely, the people themselves don't have that fucking like gung-ho attitude about like you should roll and kill every fucking Ukrainian in the same way that like Americans feel about killing every Russian. Now, obviously, once again, completely unjustifiable. Russia's actions are completely unjustifiable. Perhaps that plays a role in it, but it's wild that like even when they're getting exclusively State Department propaganda, they have a more nuanced and balanced approach to it for the most part than Americans do out here in America, where they're like, if you ask like the average American, they're like, yeah, let's go. Go, baby. I'm trying to skull fuck some Russian soldiers, baby. Let's go. It's like, dude, you've literally never gotten off the couch. The last time you got off the couch was in 1987, okay, to celebrate your high school victory in football or whatever. And now you're out here talking about how you're gonna fucking kill Russian soldiers or some shit.
消极还是偏积极呢？
我觉得大部分人应该都是偏积极的吧，毕竟我们自己也有一些这个主权问题没解决嘛。其实我相信很多跟我一样的人也会相信，如果我们有一位这样的总统，可能会变得有趣一些。
至少有共同的。
Yo, he said at least we have the same enemy. Oh no, please don't sanction me. China and Russia, please do not sanction us. Listen, in the new global order, when you guys are taking over, please do not sanction America. I know it seems like we're really doing, we're making it seem like we are totally culpable, like that it's our fault, okay? I promise you, not everyone wants it. Not everyone wants the war. I'm so sorry. We didn't mean it, okay? All the times that we did wars, we did not mean it. Please.
所谓的敌人在。
中俄关系啊，中俄关系就是靠美国嘛，对吧？美国如果对
If there's pressure from the United States on Russia or China, the Chinese-Russian relationship will reconcile.
中国和俄罗斯会和好。美国和美国
If there's less pressure from the United States, China and Russia will have their own problems.
各方面的一些问题。
因为首先是俄罗斯对我们
First, Russia has helped our country a lot.
它这包括在用气的方面、在粮食方面，都对我们中国很支持很大的。我们中国背靠这个大哥，我不说大哥，就是兄弟。我们背靠，他不会侵略我们，他不会弄我们。我感到
Yes, Finland is not Scandinavian. They're Turks. They're Turkish. True.
很好的事情。我们中国从来不主张去不称霸，在思想上从来不称霸，不像美国一样，这个。
Inshallah, one day we'll take over Finland, brothers.
跳火拱火，这里吵这里吵，这不行。应该要劝大家不要，大家做兄都，世界是共同体嘛。我们国家习主席也说得很好，世界是个共同体，我们应该。
The world is really like this big community, so we should all be brothers, working together so that everyone can have peace. Aww.
这是最好的。
首先来讲，美国是很强啊，然后中国跟俄罗斯，我觉得说可能互相需要帮助、需要依靠的一些共同利益。我觉得中国不会明面上支持说俄罗斯去打，也不会说怎么样，但是应该还是比较关系比较紧密。相较于跟美国跟西方来讲，中国跟俄罗斯关系还比较紧密。
Bro, I can't tell if this video did a very, like, I can't tell if this is like super biased. I mean, it must be, right? Guys, I already ran the top of the hour ad break. Please stop trying to debate me. Jesus Christ. You made a huge point about reading this shit out loud yesterday, but why not now? I don't know, because I'm tired of it. Average Chinese is smarter than the Westoid because they understood official state narrative. I mean, it just seems like very deliberately crafted to make these guys look. You can never arrive at a video like this. You can never arrive at a video like this to without any sort of like biases playing. in the background or any sort of fucking any sort of like legitimate biases or that plays out in the editing, you know what I mean? But every single person that they've talked to is very even-handed.
主要因为我是觉得啊，相对来讲，以西方美国为首，他还是就是说以打着他们的一些名义吧，可能会就是说对一些发展中国家会有一些制裁，或者说希望根据他们的想法去改造社会，但是中国可能不是这样子，所以但是中国你要说1对1，中国肯定还是不如美国，那俄罗斯也是这样，所以我觉得
China and Russia have done some things they can help each other with.
互相的一些协助啊，来一起面对这些比较紧张的局面。我是
And ease their anxieties.
那你对俄罗斯领导人普京有些什么看法？
这个人克出身嘛，然后年纪现在这么大，然后连续做了这么多年总统，应该是一个当总统经历很丰富，然后应该蛮有经验的吧。
其实某种意义上来讲，我不太喜欢他。相对来说，我不认为一个国家的领导。
I mean, even that dude didn't say anything like all that wrong. He just didn't immediately say he's bad and violent, which this guy is saying, which you should say. I mean, if you just say you're qualified and experienced without saying like he's fucking violent, like he takes incredibly violent steps that you know the rest of the world would never bat an eye if America did, but if you don't mention that part of Putin, it's like you're kind of losing an important part of Vladimir Putin, what makes him Putin.
应该在那个位置上待那么久。
Wait, what the fuck? How long has Xi Jinping been?
我觉得
Wait, wasn't there literally a new? Wait, hold on. He said no leader of a nation should be in power for that long. You can't be saying that. Didn't Xi Jinping recently change the appointment system? Like literally term limits ended, right? Between 1982 and 2018, the Constitution stipulated the president could not serve more than 2 consecutive terms. In 2018, term limits were abolished without changing its powers. Current President Xi Jinping, who took office in March 2013, replacing Hu Jintao, he was reelected in March 2018. Yeah, there are no more term limits now.
可能更多的轮换会对于一个国家来说更好吧。
我觉得他蛮有趣的，每次看到他的一些新闻都是就是跟我们的就是维尼熊握手或者什么的，对，习大大就对这种就是感觉他在我们国家还是蛮受好评的。
我对待普京很难的，我感到他很难的，他说话算话。 他就是为了保护自己国家的领土安全，他是这样做了。他为了自己的人民幸福，他这样做了。我感到他真的很好，这样的领导人我很钦佩，很信服他。他是一个。
By the way, the people saying like Nordic countries, most countries don't have term limits. Like I disagree with that. Not like with the fact that they don't. I'm saying that I disagree with that being a thing. Like it should not be a thing.
他是。 你不欺负我，你不来压制我，不给我压力，我不会动的。
我觉得是这样，就是从他的这个人格魅力上来讲，我其实是钦佩的。但是他的做事做法最后产生的这个社会影响或者世界上的影响，其实我是比较担忧的。
你觉得你很
People should elect whoever, no term limits, no shot, dude. The fact that we don't, dude, look at our fucking Congress. Are you kidding me? It's disgusting. Yeah, no term limits, but also like it's okay to do PvP then to politicians. How about that? You know what I mean? You get one shot only though. Like not like with a gun, obviously. I mean like, you know, legislation changes and there's a gauntlet. It's a whole political process. I'm not saying that like, you know, I'm not saying that you should be able to shoot politicians. I did not mean that. I know it came across wrong.
很钦佩他的这个个人的魅力，他这个人魅力你可以稍微形容一下吗？
就是他坚定的事情，他有自己非常明确的
Taiwan
目标
style
并且呢，他其实是 也是捍卫它整个一个国家和民族吧。从这个节点上来看，我觉得我是敬佩的啊。
他是一个很有能力的人，这是我承认的，但是我觉得他是还是一个比较独裁的一个人。我觉得他这个人，战争心很重，对周边国家，我觉得很多的国家对他都有这种不安全感。
其实有很多人会担心俄罗斯入侵乌克兰会造成一个第3次世界大战。那么你认为这种可能性有多大？
这种可能性几乎没有。首先第一点，俄罗斯它是友好国家，然后它周边的美国也是友好国家，在那个没有很大的这个战争的这个环境下，是不可能动用核武器的。我觉得
I mean, he's right. Bro, why is every random Chinese person they've interviewed have a better fucking point of view on like world conflicts and global conflicts than like, you know, lifetime fucking anchors on mainstream media? Like motherfuckers would be like, yeah, you can't do that. A country with nukes, I mean, that would be nuclear holocaust. It's like, even if these are cherry-picked samples, okay? Even if these are cherry-picked samples, that still doesn't make sense in comparison to, like, fucking every American anchor writing articles about how, like, we really should give no-fly zone a try. Because, like, the American anchors are the ones who are the most educated, functionally, right? Anyway, let's continue with this.
这种世界大战可能性是不可能有。
我觉得应该不至于，因为毕竟来讲，大多数的国家还是希望和平，而且这个事情目前来看，只要暂时美国还没有出手，如果美国出手了，可能会有问题，但是真正直接下场去开战，我觉得。
What do you mean? Who will start the war? Oh, he means like World War III?
两个核大国之间的这个交锋，不可想象。希望不要到这个阶段吧。
我是希望美国能够从此能够罢手这样子的事情。
People over here like to make China out to be some horrible country, but the people don't look like they're doing too bad. No, dude, China is literally comparably doing better than the United States of America. Okay, like they're having their like fucking 80s and 90s like mega growth period. Okay, fucking kidding me? It's just so stupid. China is literally popping the fuck off. That's precisely why you hear more and more from the United States about how fucking horrible China is. It's also like they're in a fucking incredibly wealthy fucking neighborhood as well, in an incredibly wealthy city as well. Like, it's like going to the finance district in Manhattan and interviewing people there about America. Like, obviously, there's a difference between the Appalachian dude living in a fucking trailer with no teeth and is, like, addicted to heroin versus, you know, talking to a person who is, like, incredibly well off. And China has its own population problems as well, especially in rural areas. But you always have to adjust to... You always have to adjust to what their starting point is, okay? What their material realities were and what their material realities are now, okay? And when you look at that, when you look at the past 20 years in China, holy fuck, they're destroying it, dude. They're fucking crushing it. The country is so poor, but it's still weird when Americans are mad that hundreds of millions of Chinese men and women are lifted out of poverty. Yeah, literally. Stereotype much? The person in the Appalachian fucking mountains that has no teeth and is crippled by addiction to heroin is a victim of capitalism. I'm not saying it's their fault that they're in that situation. You would only consider that to be a stereotype much when you think that somehow they are responsible for that situation. I'm using that as an example to explain to you that rural areas have their own set of problems no matter where you go on the planet. Okay?
整个世界才能够和平。 但是我认为美国它真正出兵的这个可能性
It's definitely their fault they're in that situation. I don't know about that one. Oh, it's your fault that you're getting fucking banned now, bitch. The fuck? Disgusting, dude. How dare you? How dare you, dude? What do you mean? Yeah, it's his fault for being born in fucking, West Virginia. Yeah. Oh my God. 1 in 4 West Virginia seniors don't have any teeth. It isn't a stereotype. It's a fact. It's fucking disgusting, dude.
可能比较小，
And not that like they don't have teeth. I'm saying it's disgusting that this government doesn't do more for people living in places like this.
因为他也是非常清楚。他的出兵会导致他们国家怎样的困难？因为他们国家现在实际上经济也并不是很好，所以我希望大家也都能够考虑到说，真正的安居乐业，真正的人民的生活平安的生活。因为如果真正发动一场战争，这现在是全世界各国都没有办法承受的后果。因为现在。
It's awesome. Someone said just don't do drugs, Lamau. Yeah, totally. When you're working in a fucking coal mine and your back breaks, okay, because it's marginally better for the fucking shareholder to make sure that you don't have the proper protective gear, and then you go to your doctor and your doctor has been fucking told that like this new opiate actually does not have any addictive properties. It's crazy. Pump them full of those fucking Oxycontin. Pump them full of Oxycontin. It's actually dope. Here, we'll fly you out to Florida and give you a fucking hand job too if you sell our Oxycontin. And then the doctor is literally fucking pumping you full of Oxycontin. It's your fault that now you're addicted to this incredibly addictive opiate. It's your fault. Why did you believe your doctor? Wow, stupid. Why did you do that?
现在大家都有导弹，所以实际上任何一个国家都有核弹啊。如果任何一个国家它真正采用这种武器的话，其实全世界就是一个灭顶之灾。
其实美国还是会采取一定行动的。一旦美国介入，你会如何看中国的立场，或者你觉得中国应该有什么立场？
He died in 91 with a broken back from work. Used heroin from coworkers as a painkiller. Died from OD months after my birth. I'm sorry to hear that, man. I'm bored of this video though. It's kind of boring. I'm gonna be honest. I'm gonna keep it $1.50 here. I'm gonna keep it a stack.